So today I'll be sculpting Thanos from never mind. Anyways, let's get to it. To start, we're going to need something to support all the weight of this resin. And that is, you guessed it, an armature. To make one, I like to hop on Procreate and make these lines as guidelines for the wire. And then bolt the whole thing with aluminum foil. Time to bring in the clay, in my case oven-baked clay, or more specifically Sculpey, this type of Sculpey, which I used to first cover the entire thing with very thin layers of clay that went through a pasta machine. Now, considering Thanos deleted half of all living things in the universe, and I am 99% sure my clay is alive because it keeps disappearing on me, I'll be making only half of him. Added his head.
She has regularly brought to my 2 doctor's appointments and weekly therapy. Then Beth decided that after 2 months of regular job screening, she took her off of the random job screens. So I guess 2 months off.
Yeah, anyway, added his head by making this weird shape that reminds me of a raisin for no reason at all, and then proceeded to make a quick sketch of all the muscles. If you're judging my knowledge of anatomy, just keep in mind I made this sculpture almost 2 years ago, and also keep in mind that I used the word quick. Now that I have a rough, well, really rough idea of pretty much the entire body, half body, it's now time to start adding the muscles. Sculpting is all about adding or removing clay, which is precisely what I'm doing right now. Give him a slim waist because he cannot be eating well if all he has is soup and if he is owned by Disney. And now that the body is kinda, really kinda there, it's time to start with more details of his head. To make the face, all you have to do is make a resin that looks like it had a little too much Taco Bell and it's not having a fun time holding it. And that resin is also a biker, so add a helmet. I don't know, I couldn't think of anything funny on this last part, but you get the point. Now this might be a hot take, but I don't really like the design of Thanos in the MCU. The comic version is a million times cooler in my opinion, and you cannot change my mind about that. The issue with the comic version is that there's a fine line between making Thanos look like an absolute unit and making him kinda chunky. Anyways, I gave up on his face for a while. Don't worry, I'll get back to it later on. To keep defining the body. The best thing an artist can do is, when struggling to get one part right, move on to other parts, and maybe, just maybe, those other parts were the issue all along, which unfortunately for me, that was not the case here. Defining more details of the armature was so relaxing after struggling with the face for so long. And it's at this point where I have some advice for artists. When something is simply not working, no matter how many hours and effort you put into something, at one point, you need to start all over. Which is exactly what I did for his face. When I say it was a struggle, I absolutely mean it. I simply couldn't for the life of me make it work. So I destroyed his head and started from zero. A process I did not record at all because I was that stressed out and completely forgot. But it was definitely the right call, because now, it looks a million times better. Once again, really take into consideration before restarting everything, but if your fundamentals are wrong, then you should just go for it. Now that I am a lot happier with this face, we can move on to making some more details on his body. I have noticed this very interesting fact that comic characters, even when fully clothed, look a lot more ripped than CGI ones. Like you can pretty much see every single muscle, even the obliques. Aware that to your surprise, I did not have to Google this time. And what's Thanos without his Infinity Glove? Go comment the right way to say this please so you can boost this video to more people. I am not sure why I decided to record from the right angle when I am right-handed, but please appreciate it because I have well over 10 minutes of this.
Oh, brother!
Yeah, this is when I started regretting my decision of making this character, because if you've watched my previous videos, you will know I love making hands holding onto something because they are much easier to sculpt that way. But here we are, making a hand as is. And because I'm making a hand like this, I think I deserve to make the other hand just as a closed fist, not holding onto anything. Just a hand. Time to add some details that will indicate our bro is not naked and is actually wearing a very cool armor. No idea what these lines are, but they look amazing, so I'm sure they have a purpose, and as I have said in multiple videos, this part is all about covering my sculptures in so much detail that everyone that sees this will simply go, yep, detail. Now while I'm doing this, let me remind you that I am also on Instagram, where I've been posting for a long time now, and you'll find a lot more content there, with more recent sculptures that are not cut in half thanks to my budget. I would highly appreciate if you would follow me there, and also remember to DM me with a screenshot of your subscription in case you want me to make a sculpture of your profile picture. And now that we are done with the sculpting process, it is time to, as always, shower my crafts in some isopropyl alcohol. Now that we are done, it's time to bake him. In the oven. Because, well, it's oven baked clay. Yeah. After an hour of ovening at 275 nonsense or 130 Celsius, we sand the whole thing. Now the reason why is because you have the option to put a lot of effort into smoothing the clay when it's still soft, or you can do it later in the easier and not so great results way by sanding. And you already know what I chose. After sanding everything, we move on to adding primer, a very tedious process where there's not really a lot for me to say, so I'll take this chance to remind you of this amazing, beautiful thing called the subscribe button. So please consider hitting that button if you enjoy the content. It's completely free, so yeah. If you don't want to based on this video alone, I completely understand, just know I'll find you one day. No, but seriously, at this point there's a few other videos for you to watch and enjoy, so consider doing so after being done with this one. Anyways, time to move on to painting his very gold, gold? He's very blue. And finally, he's very purple. You won't ever get any better narrations than this one on YouTube, by the way, that's all I gotta say. Now that everything is covered in some paint, that's when I remember this beautiful paint, black. Which should have been what I added first, before adding the very gold to make it all look rusty. But because I do not know how to plan ahead, now I have double the amount of work I have to do. Yeah, I know that's a lot of black, but please remember I'm making the comic version, so shading with black on instances like this one is the right approach. Anyways, time to give the head some more love. Okay, that sounded awful, holy just by making some more lines and shading everything. It will look cool at the end of the day, okay? Just let me cook. Now I proceeded to add some highlights for his clothes with some lighter tones of blue. And hey, I know I've been calling him a raisin, but there's a pretty good reason for me to do so, okay? Now here's a tip. If you kinda suck at painting like I used to when I made this piece, I highly recommend you to just go for it and clean your mess later on, like you're seeing me do here. Getting close to the finish line, of course I had to paint the infinity stones and decided to paint some silver lines, which was my favorite part of this entire sculpture because it breaks apart from the same two colors in a pretty nice way. And of course my camera had to be completely unfocused for most of this part. God damn it. The very last step was to cover the stones in UV resin to make them shinier in this very nice and centered shot. Hey, down here, please. Yeah, there you go. And after cleaning up everything and messing up everything, this is the end of this sculpture. But wait, if you would like me to make a sculpture of your profile picture, all you have to do is subscribe, take a screenshot and send it to me over on Instagram. Comment down below what you think of this sculpture and what should I sculpt next, and come back again next Friday, okay? There's more videos for you to watch right now, so don't wait till next Friday.